sessions, and we often use them in our marketing materials. We like to see your face. Looks like almost everyone has their camera on, so thank you for that. And we like to use chat to do a little bit of introductions here and there. So tell us what brings you here today. Put it in the chat, and people will read that. I'm going to do my little introduction that's already in progress, if you couldn't tell. And then we're going to give it over to Scott, and he's going to go into the topic for today. Oops. I asked the group to regularly share wins because that gives us all a little bit of motivation. And George shared a win, assessing report value by tracking engagement and reviewing reports that are not being used. George, tell us more about that. That's interesting.
Yeah, it's been a minute since I typed that in, so I'm trying to remember when.
You're like, I
when
didn't
it
know that
was.
this was actually going to come up in a future discussion.
Yeah.
While you're thinking of it, this rings a bell, right? Like of going through unused reports that a company has and figuring out which ones are actually value add and being utilized. I assume it's something along those lines.
Yeah, I was working with one of the companies that we're working with, and just I'm jogging my memory now. The just the sheer quantity of reports that were being generated. I mean, how many of you, I know I have had to generate reports and you don't know if they're valuable or not. You just send it off into the ether, and then you just wonder if it's aggregates into KPIs that are being used or not. So in this case, that in itself was a good exercise for me, where we worked with a company that saw, well, where did that information go, and was it actually being useful and helpful? And I think, just to add to that, there's a risk of automating bad automating kind of useless information or not
Yes.
great information. So I think in this whole age of AI, it's just so important to keep checking and seeing, okay, is this useful? What is it being used for? And then maybe automating it if it saves you time. But like automating something that isn't being used anyway is just kind of clogs kind of clogs the whole information
System.
system of a company.
I'm going to use that as a bridge to my bridge. So I think that there is absolutely risk in us doing useless tasks faster with our AI agents and so on and so forth. And in 2 months ago, we had Mir Atib Ali from my team on, and he talked about how we're using AI with clients and within Chalmers Street. And we, as a group, we started throwing around ideas. I thought that was kind of fun and useful. And then, if you remember, last month we talked about creating a little bit of a community around this on LinkedIn. And so the interests seem to be there. So we're going to move ahead with that. We're just going to do it for 6 weeks. And the reason is I have a little bit of hesitation just because it's hard. There's so many things that pull at us, right? It's hard to get people's attention and maintain it. So I want to try it out and see if I get attention. But if I don't, probably won't stick with it. Or who knows, maybe we'll retool it and try it again something next year. But the idea is weekly prompts, then and focused on AI. So we thought, rather than doing something overly general around continuous improvement, there was a lot of good discussion on AI. The group kind of left with, hey, this is a topic we should be talking about more often because we're going to see opportunities and challenges in the workplace in utilizing artificial intelligence. And as continuous improvement professionals, we want to think through how we make the best of the opportunities and how we mitigate the challenges. And so that's why we thought we create some prompts to create discussion. We uh, get some idea exchange going. Again, I'll help moderate that, but again, my time is and my team's times it's challenging. So we're going to see how well we do at moderating over the 6 weeks. We'll absolutely try and engage. We just have to figure out how much effort it's going to take on our side. Um, and we're going to come up with some discoveries along the way, and probably use these monthly sessions to say, hey, here's something we learned, and share it with the group. So the goal is enhancing this community, right? By coming up with another place where we can interact and share information. So watch your inbox. We're going to use LinkedIn because most of you I've met through networking on LinkedIn, so that's really makes sense for us to stay in that space. Accept and join, and then please do contribute, because it's going to be your contributions that make this a thing for us. Any questions, any thoughts on this? Looks good to everybody?
Yeah.
All right, rock and roll. Okay. Next month, we will have Scott Winter. He is one of our regulars. He's not on today, but he is definitely one of our regulars. And he wants to come and talk about a warehouse improve project that he did, and just some of the real world stuff that came out of that project, some of the real world improvements, and some of the real world challenges. I like this statement here: how resistance often appears only after teams think they've already bought in. So it's many times happened when I'm in the middle of changing something, putting a process in, everyone had agreed with it. And now when it gets into the details of it, people start going, ooh, oh, wait, oh, I didn't know that. I didn't think about this. I didn't get your, and you start getting that pullback. And so he's going to talk, both about the kind of the mechanical side of the improvements that he made, the technical side of the improvements he made in the warehouse, but he's also going to talk about a lot about the people side and some of the lessons he learned through that. So that is what you are going to see in July. And with that, Scott Herbst, who are
Hey.
you? What are you doing here today? Tell us
Hey,
all
I'm Scott
about the
Herbst.
topic.
My company is called Six Flex Training and Consulting, and we do behave. I'm a behavior analyst by training, and that's really the psychology of learning and performance and motivation. And where I have landed in my career is in the world of leadership and management and communication. I think we can work anything out in communication, and people around me do. Um, so so that's a little bit about me. I want to jump in. Oh wait, I'm not sharing my screen yet, am I? Let's do that. What I love about Teams is that it tells you how many windows you have open. And that's a shocking number. All right.
That sounds like an organizational issue there, Scott.
Yeah. Like, whoa, I get to pick from 40. Cool. All right. We looking at encouraging solutions, working productively with strong critics now. Cool. All right. So here's what I want you to do to get the most value from this. And here's how this is going to go is that everyone's going to play along, and I'm probably going to work with one or two people. What there is to do as I work with one or two people is answer any questions I ask, applying them to your situation. So just answer them for yourself, jot down some notes. At the end of this, I'll share my slides. So you'll get the prompts and you can, do whatever you want with those. But to start, I want you to think of a place where you routinely experience resistance from others. And it doesn't have to be the same person, but it could be that meeting. There's that one meeting where I bring up an idea and someone always has something to say. Doesn't always even necessarily have to be the same person. I'm on a volunteer board. We're planning a conference. Someone brings up an idea. There's going to be a lot of, wait a minute, hold on. How's this gonna, what if? And in that space, ideas can get deflated pretty quickly. right? Um, and I'm saying where you experience resistance, and that could be either directly, meaning I bring an idea forward or I propose a change and people say, no, nah, I don't think so. Or you see idea like I just described in this volunteer board, it's not always my ideas. It's people bring up ideas and there's resistance. You with me? Cool. And now I want you to take a moment to imagine that scenario and just put yourself in that space. And to help everyone do that, is someone willing to share the situation you're working with? Is that a no? Okay, I'm going to give you a few questions
Come on. I'm
then.
gonna call on somebody if you don't.
Well, I do want to be sensitive that this is being recorded and you're dealing with your real life here.
All right.
So I don't want to make anyone jump off if it's like, oh God, what if my boss sees or what if my colleague sees this? I appreciate that. So here's the questions to answer then. The questions to answer are, and really get present to and just put yourself in the situation. So you want to look at where you are. So for me, with this volunteer board, it's I'm sitting here, right here in a space like this, where there's about this many people present, maybe like one or two less. And it would be our meetings are usually on a Monday or a Tuesday evening, depending if it's a full board meeting or like conference planning. But it's usually in the evening at the end of a work day. So I can put myself there and kind of get a sense of like, yeah, okay, I've already put a lot of work in. I'm probably feeling tired. There's a little just eye strain because I spend a lot of time in front of a screen, um, thinking about food, etc. Think of the people who are there and just imagine the circumstances that are going on around you. Meaning, yeah, I just came from that other meeting, or it's first thing in the morning, it's after lunch. I'm usually kind of tired. Um, am I being clear here? Cool. And I like what Chris is doing. Can everyone say, yeah, I'm pretty well there? Thumbs up. Okay, good. All right. Now, the place to look. What we're doing here is something in the world of behavioral psychology or behavior analysis, we would call habit reversal. And what there is to consider is that you've got habitual ways of being and acting around resistance, conflict, disagreement, etc. And what's powerful about habit reversal, and you can do this with any habit you have, like smoking or nervous tics you've got when you're public speaking, etc., is to bring some awareness to what you're already doing and what's going on with you and your environment when you engage in that habit. So the questions to start asking yourself are, you can see the situation. So you raise an idea or someone raises an idea, and that one person says what that one person always says. Well, have we considered it from a different whatever? And then you want to look at what thoughts typically show up. And for me, it's along the lines of, all right, well, here we go again. Or these people never, or these people always, or how long is this going to take? And this, whatever it is. But start looking at the patterns of thinking that are immediately there for you when resistance pops up. Now, why I had you really imagine the situation is because the other thing you want to pay attention to are what feelings show up. And there's probably some level of emotionality. for me, it's kind of something happens behind my eyes. And I don't quite have words for it, but it's this like kind of like tightening of, here we go. And knowing me, the thinking isn't so much here we go again. It's more like, well, actually, no, there is a little bit of like, oh my God, that. And then, okay, Scott, stop it, stop it, stop it, relax, stop it. Come on, listen, pay attention, etc. Okay. And then whatever patterns of acting you fall into or default to. And listen, that could be for me, if it's conflict with someone else, meaning there's people, this person raises an idea, this person starts disagreeing with it. I fall back into, okay, well, they'll work it out. And I will sit back and wait. If it's my idea, I start launching into convincing and explaining and rationalizing. So basically creating like a sales pitch on the spot and a very logically oriented sales pitch. In fact, I'll say things like, well, let's think about this logically. And then the last place to look is, oh, I lost a piece here. What way of being describes that pattern of thinking, feeling, and acting? And I would say for me, it's being defensive, being logical and defensive.
So
Someone ask a question, yeah.
yeah, so Scott, let's I think the group knows I always ask a question beforehand, and we ask, describe a situation where you had an idea worth exploring and it was met with criticism without problem solving, and briefly describe. And so everyone responded to that, and I'd like to pick a couple out, and just dive in. And I guess to Scott's point, if you're not comfortable with chatting about it, just tell me. But Dan, yours kind of popped up as one of the ones that I kind of like the best, honestly. And you said we're in the middle of a big capital cost savings effort, which I'm familiar with those kinds of efforts. And someone brought up an idea on I assume that's calibration, and it was shot down as not significant enough. Not even a thank you for the idea. And I'm wondering if you're open to chatting with the group about that in more detail, and then working with Scott a little bit on how that might be. And it sounds like maybe it wasn't you, so maybe this is even better because you can kind of look at it as a third person. Can you tell us about it?
Yeah, so we're in the business of building cell towers, and now all of a sudden everyone's all up in arms that we're spending too much and we have to reduce costs. So on one of my boss's staff calls, he's asking for ideas, and someone brought up, what is it? It's like it's not I'm stuck with the wrong term. We have a huge 250-foot self-support tower, right? Three-legged tower with crisscrosses and everything. To get the cables up, there's a ladder. We call it cable ladder, and ours is. The industry has been typically a wide cable ladder, which means more steel and more work putting it together and everything. And someone brought up, the technology has gone from maybe 12 lines to just 3 lines need to get up this tower. Why don't we shrink the cable ladder, and that'll help reduce costs for steel installation and whatnot. And our boss was like, yeah, it's probably not a significant reduction, whatever. And, to me, that just
Deflates the
makes
whole
you
thing.
think that your thoughts or ideas are just gonna get shut down, kind of a thing.
Right.
Awesome. And then now, did that happen over chat, like finger chat, or was
No,
it
it was
actually
on a call like this.
okay? Perfect. And then, well, how did the group react? And how did you react?
Well, my thought was initially that it's like, recognize that someone brought an idea forward, and maybe it's yes or no, good, bad, whatever, but recognize that someone brought an idea forward. And then on the 2 weeks later, just this Monday, I brought up an idea about fencing and do we really need the fence? And knowing full well that the answer is going to be yes, we should really have a fence for safety reasons or whatever. But at least when I brought up my idea, he said, thanks for bringing up the idea. So I don't know if it's a case of who's bringing forward the ideas or what the ideas are or what, but.
Okay, awesome. And when that happened, so you observed that someone brings up an idea, is like, well, that's probably not significant enough. What else you got? Basically, sounds like,
Right.
Yeah. What was your way of acting towards that?
I really didn't do anything, to be honest with you.
Okay, great.
Other than keep it in my head.
Yeah. And how would you describe that way of being?
I don't know, passive.
Okay, great. Awesome. What way to distinguish that? Now, that's the first piece of habit reversal, by the way, is you just want to bring awareness to, okay, what's going on?
Mm-hmm.
And the reason for that is so that the next time it happens, you can spot it and then do something else. A lot of times we don't see what we're doing. So you can say, okay, I'm having the thought. Oh, come on, man. Oh, all right.
You kind of have to step outside of yourself in the moment, or I guess after the moment, to be able to see that. Because in the moment, I guess you really don't know.
Yes.
You're just in the habit, whatever the hell it is.
That's why we're doing this reflection now, and why I'm going to share the slides so you can go back and start looking at different situations with different people and see what are my habits. Probably once you've done this a couple times, you'll have it nailed down, because most of us aren't wildly different people from one situation to the next. Most of us have a few default patterns that we fall into depending on the situation. Cool. Thanks, Dan. So next, here's what I want to suggest, is that people always, and this is an assumption, I don't really have good evidence for this, and it's a good place to start assuming from. And as actors in the world, there's always something that we're interested in moving towards, which I'm going to call the positive intention, commitment, value, or caring. Okay, like Dan, and what you're sharing, I can just hear that you've got this complaint, like, come on, man. And there's a commitment there. And you have some kind of commitment to teams supporting each other, creating environment of creativity, collaboration. You really want to create a space where people are encouraged to bring ideas forward, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and it's not just like you don't want to just get rid of the jerks. There's like, no, I want this positive environment.
We can do both.
Well, hold on. Yeah. So the place to start from is to assume that that's always out there somewhere, even when someone is complaining. Because probably, Dan, there's times well, I don't know if there is or not, and you could just complain about this. You with me?
Yeah.
Like, you could show up at this meeting like, you would not believe my boss. This guy is such an unappreciative jerk, blah, blah, blah.
We'll cut these parts out, Dan, just so you know.
So now, though, so this is your person who's offering resistance, criticism, etc. Somewhere they've got a positive intention commitment. There's two things that get in the way of that and that make it difficult to see, both for me as someone listening, but honestly, probably for them as well. And the two things are barriers and threats. So, this is the first time I've ever used this slide. I thought I would have a lot more to say about it. I think this is it. And what we're going to do is what works in leveraging criticism is when we get really clear on these so that it gives access to this. So when we get really clear on the barriers and threats so that it becomes immediately obvious.
And Scott, when you say that, so the slide worked, honestly, because when I looked at it, I thought, oh yeah, that looks about right. But who's the little guy here? Is the little guy me, or is that the person
yeah, great
that I'm...
question. The little guy is your well, it could be you actually, because the truth is you've probably got the same thing.
It could be, but
right? And
the
who I had in mind was your criticizer, resistor, challenger, etc. Okay.
And that's what that person is seeing. I get what you're saying. Like, we do the same thing.
Yeah.
But in the case scenario that we're kind of talking about here, our criticizer is seeing the barriers and the threat.
Yes. Yes. And seeing might even be too strong a word. It might be just that they're experiencing them. And when I say experiencing, the thing about barriers and threats is they kind of feel kind of scary.
Mm.
And feeling kind of scary, our tendency is to look away from them.
Mm.
So you might ask me, well, what is the problem here, Scott? And I just know I feel a little, ugh, right?
Yep.
And I'll start making stuff up that really has nothing to do with it. Okay. Or maybe say, like, I don't know, but just something doesn't feel right.
Well, and then we say that person's irrational, but I don't know if that's really what's going on, right? It's just that they're making stuff up because right? I don't know if it's rational or irrational. It's just some barrier and some fear.
Yes. Yes. So our job, so here's what works in encountering resistance, is to notice your usual ways of thinking, feeling, acting, and being pop up, and then give them a little tickle. And here's what I mean by that. You're going to have, Dan, you're going to be in meetings and think, oh, come on, and maybe experience a little annoyance with it. I'm going to be in board meetings and think, geez, this group, and be annoyed by it. What works is to catch it and say, oh, hey, there I go again. Versus my other thinking, Scott, stop it, don't do that, etc. Okay. By the way, there's a book called Positive Intelligence that is a pretty easy. It's one of those books that's probably 180 pages long that could have been 50, but you got to write 60,000 words to sell. But it's got a lot of really useful exercises for this first point. Okay. And it's a really easy read. And then to get really curious and seek to fully understand the threats and barriers.
What's a tickle, though? I don't know what a tickle is.
A tickle, that was a word. I'm like, I don't know how to say this really shortly. It's give yourself a little pat on the back for catching it. Get laugh at it a little bit, like, oh my God, there's the judgmental thing again. Okay. Don't try to change it or argue with it or get rid of it. Just kind of treat it lightly. Because you're a human and you're going to have those reactions and you're just going to. Okay.
Yep.
So you're going to get really curious about the threats and barriers as an access to revealing the positive intention, commitment, value, or caring. And by the way, when they're in the world of threats and barriers, they're not going to have access to that. So you can't even just ask them, well, hey, what do you really want? It's like you've got to have them actually look a little bit at the threats and barriers so that starts that being the intention, commitment, etc., starts to get a little clear. And you do that so that everyone can move forward towards what matters, both individually and as a team. Because I imagine what you guys encounter when you're trying to improve a process or bring an idea forward is that someone's got their area staked out. Things are pretty predictable. They kind of like how things are going, and a change could be a disruption to that. And yep.
Scott, could we try this with George? You have one that I liked as well, or do you? I don't mean to interrupt your flow, Scott. So
let's do this really quick and then jump into that. Okay.
Okay.
So there's two pieces to
George,
this.
I'm going to pick on you if you're okay with it. Thank you.
Yep. So two pieces to this. One, understand the barriers or the threats, and towards that, you want to hear what they say and the emotion behind it. And the way you're going to do that is you're going to reflect and question, and you'll know you're getting farther when they get frustrated or they repeat themselves. You'll know you're getting closer when they say, yeah, or yeah, the kind of. And then you'll know you're there when they say, yeah. And yeah, that's it. You got it. And they stop talking. Two, get to the understanding intention. And you're going to use reflection and questioning to be certain you got all of those things. And the key question here is, if the threats and barriers were handled, whatever those are, what would that provide? What would it make available? And they'll start to say things, and you just keep asking that question until you relax and your view shifts. And Matt, you got something in mind, so facilitate this interaction, will you?
Yeah. So George, you had a good one here as well. I felt I proposed a cellular layout to better utilize existing resources. I like that kind of thing. This was met by resistance. I'm used to that kind of thing, especially because it changed how a person did their work, which is exactly what we're talking about. So I'm wondering if you could give us a little more background on this one. And then, Scott, can you guide him through the steps that you just provided?
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure. Yeah. So in this case, I think this just happened to be with.
Hey, George, here's what I
Kinda,
want to do. I
please.
want to stick with just tell me what you said and tell me what they said back, and then we're going to role play and work through it, okay?
Okay. So I um, worked on developing a quick process type map of an area. And then I put some numbers down to figure out, well, what would a proper cellular layout be? So I was presenting that out, and I was
And
showing how, um, and I was explaining how this could save time and increase your capacity with your existing equipment and people. So I was explaining the um, the benefits of the work that I put in for this specific company.
yeah, brilliant. And then they said what?
Um, there was yes, this is great, but I don't know. This seems like it would be difficult to do. Kind of just immediate hesitation, immediate pushback on the difficulty of implementing.
Okay, great. So let's start here. And And we'll start right there. And I'm going to say, I really love that idea. I can see the value, but I think there's going to be all sorts of problems with trying to get it implemented. And here's what you're going to do.
Mhm.
Reflect exactly what I said,
Sure.
and then poke around and say, like, sounds like you're concerned, worried, anxious, etc. That.
Okay. So it
Okay.
sounds like you're concerned about the effort it would take to implement this solution.
Yeah. And, my team already has a ton to do. They're pretty stretched. They talk to me about how uh, they're about it, what they can handle. And I'm worried that changing things in the middle of like, work is constantly flowing. Changing things in the middle of that is just going to be too much for them.
Mhm. What I would say, and maybe you and we need to steer back, but what I said, or it was, uh, well, do you think that improving the capacity or increasing the throughput of this product is still a high priority for your department?
I mean, yeah, we'd love to do that, but I can't afford to burn my team out.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay,
Well,
now hold
yeah,
on.
yeah.
Okay. Uh, Watch this because you're going back into your old habits,
Okay.
right? Like, hey, let's logic with this guy. Come on, let's show him the
Mhm.
cost benefit, right?
Mhm.
I do the same thing, George.
Yeah.
Yeah, and by the way, I do the same thing. And what I will encourage you to do is practice this everywhere
Hmm.
because this happens with your kids, it happens with wait staff, it happens with seriously, like, hey, can I get like, and they're, well, no, because I like, and you want to practice in those easier situations so that you start building the muscle for these situations where, like, for me, the like the boss character in my video game of life is my wife. Like, I'm do great at doing this with coaching and like business situations, and then my wife says, "I don't want to," and I'm like, "Arr." um. So anyway, so George, I just said, yeah, well, like that does sound great, but I'm worried like it's just going to strain my team too much, and that they're going to burn out. So I just don't know how we're going to do it.
Okay.
And so now, I'm pointing at my screen, right? I don't know where it is for you. But what you want to do is reflect that, okay? And you'll know you're getting closer when I say, yeah, okay. Or no, I repeat myself. And what you'll start to hear if you start to listen, there's actually something I care about that's behind the resistance.
And Scott, when you say reflect that, you mean repeat what they just told you.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So,
So,
so
yeah,
George, you should try that now.
Sure. So it sounds like you wouldn't know how to even think about implementing a change without overloading your team more than it is now.
yeah. Well, I mean, no, I think about it, sort of is the answer. Like I know where to start thinking about it, and to me it looks like they're going to get burned out.
Okay.
And
Can
I
you,
just got to think about, I can't afford to lose my team right now.
okay. Well, that's an interesting exercise because I think I like to hammer with logic. So, um,
Awesome. Notice that, and then do something else. And in this case is to repeat back what I said
mhm,
and also get the concern, like the emotional experience.
mhm. So you're concerned that if you add anything to your team, you're going to burn them out, potentially even lose some of your team members.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, now notice what you just saw
Mm-hmm.
and give yourself a little high five. Okay, because I said yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so you got it, right? So now you want to start looking at the intention, commitment, value, caring. Like, what do I care about? And so you could say, all right, so if that were handled, what would it make available? Like,
So if avoiding your operators being burnt out was handled, well, I'm not sure how to phrase this now. If avoiding your operators from being burnt out was handled, then how then would you consider experimenting with a small change?
nope,
No. Okay.
no, I wouldn't. But ask me, what would it make available?
What would it make available?
If I didn't have to worry about burning them out, I actually think we could talk to them about uh, how we can do this. And maybe take this to them and see how they can work together to get this implemented.
That's fantastic. I think I love your idea of getting their feedback and getting a better understanding of their challenges.
Cool.
So can we set up a meeting?
You know what? Yeah. All right.
Can
Great.
Sorry, Scott, you finish your thoughts, but I want to make sure we're a little over time, but I want to make sure I bring, because this is great. As always, Scott, you're always good at getting into this, but finish your thoughts, and then I want to point out a couple of things.
Finish my thoughts.
Yeah, well, it seemed like you might have a couple more thoughts.
So, and look, I don't know that it's going to go that smoothly, and often it does, but I can tell you my experience was like, no, we can't burn them out. And putting myself in the role play, when you ask, like, okay, if that were handled, and by the way, really just, and George, I appreciate the, oh, I don't know how to say this, and then just going forward, stick with, well, what will it provide? Because that will have me look and start solving the problem. Okay. You don't want to solve the problem because what any solution you come up with is dealing with your threats and barriers. You want to hand it over to me because I can see my threats and barriers better than you. And if you just ask questions, it's because it's like, oh, like I'm just worried my team's going to get burned out. And one thing that opened up for me in this dialogue is that I'm protecting them. I haven't even talked to them if they think this would be a good solution. Like I've already made up the mind that they're going to get burned out and resist, and maybe it's worth at least a conversation. Let's get the team together and see if we can get their buy-in, because it sounds like if we did this, that while it would be a little bit of a headache for the next month or so, 6 months later, everyone's life would be easier, and we'd be doing much better work and more productive, and et cetera. You get where I'm going, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
George,
like
anything
that. What
else
would
there?
that provide? Yeah, I just I think thank you for the exercise. The comment is that was really helpful to me to kind of reframe and get a better understanding of the person I'm talking to.
So, can I jump in with a few things?
Yeah.
So, and can you go back to your previous slide?
Yep.
So we continuous improvement people in change roles, whatever. We say that we're going to come in and help, but oftentimes not really. And the person on the other side often sees us as a threat because we're coming in and we're saying we're willing to help, but we haven't demonstrated at all that we really are there to help. And so this first spot of understanding the barriers and threats that they see, that breaks down that defensiveness that they have because, right, we're coming in with our intentions and our interests and our right, and that's not necessarily theirs. And so like step one is show that you've heard them. That's why that reflecting piece is so crucial, because if you're not showing that you're hearing them, frankly, you really, from a behaviors perspective, you're really not acting like you're there to help them. And now can you go to slide 2? And so then the opportunity becomes realizing that everybody has problems and they want to have those problems solved. So if you can get them to first recognize that you truly are there to help, and you do that by reflecting what they just said, then you can start to ask the questions around that thing that you just reflected, that you can understand their intentions and make them a co-problem solver with you. So you're not there solving the problem, but you are a partner, a guide in helping them to solve the problem. And that's where this thing completely changes. And it works just like Scott is describing. It's hard. I feel like I've been practicing it now for years, especially as a consultant, and I've gotten better at it. But it's hard. But this is absolutely the path. Is you have to first recognize reflect what they're saying to you, so that you demonstrate that you really are there to help.
I want to underline that last point. You'll know you're there when you relax and your view of them as a problem shifts. And another way of looking at that is when you immediately have a solution that you hadn't even considered before. So when you're like, oh yeah, we could have the whole team get together and talk to that, like, I did this with my wife, and it ended a fight we were having over and over and over again. And it was really like, finally, I listened to her and realized, oh, she just wants to be a partner and not have to feel like she's telling me what to do. We'll create a pre-travel checklist. And it turns out that I had less to even do. My worry was, my threat and barrier was, she's going to put it all on me. She's going to ask me, like, it's going to be like, I'm going to start doing this, and then it's not going to be enough, and I'm going to have to do, like, No, actually, it turns out she's happy doing 90% of it, as long as she doesn't have to tell me to do my 10%.
And that it's not a surprise. By the way, I understand your wife. I like that kind of thing.
Yeah. Hey, I just put a link in the chat. It's to an interest form. Fill out the form. You don't even have to fill it out if you just open it. There's a link to click. It'll take you to the slides for the day. Those are viewer slides. You just download, like, make a copy, save it to your Google Drive. You can book time with me to talk. By the way, I teach people this in group coaching models. If you really want to master communication, book a time with me to talk about what that would be like, see if it's right for you. It does warrant a conversation.
Uh-oh. Am I frozen, or is Scott frozen? Oh man.
Scott is, I hear you.
He was just right there. He was like right at the delivery.
Hey, I was going to say, and if you fill out the form, I'll add you to my email list. I have periodic, sometimes more, sometimes less, depending on how inspired I'm feeling, and etc.
It's a good newsletter. It's a good newsletter. I'll vouch for it.
Yeah, it's just insights around leadership, management, communication, sometimes management, sometimes leadership, etc. And awesome. Everyone acknowledge Dan and George, especially for
Thanks,
and
guys.
Matt for moving things along.
All good. All good. That's my job. Thank you, Scott, and thank you, group. And we will be back next month with Scott Winter. Different topic, new Scott.
You know what's funny?
Tell me.
Herps means fall.
Oh, hey,
so
no
we've got
kidding.
Scott Fall and then Scott Winter.
Oh, I hope I remember that for the intro next month. That's pretty good.
Yeah,
no
it
summer,
just occurred to me.
All right, everyone, have a great day. Thank you for joining.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.